Those giant orange balls hanging from power lines could actually save a pilot's life. And here's the shocking part. Without them, a power line that you can clearly see from the ground can become almost invisible from the cockpit of a low-flying aircraft. Have you ever been on a long road trip, looked out the window, and suddenly noticed something strange hanging from the power lines? Bright orange, yellow, or white spheres, sometimes stretching across entire highways. At first, they look almost ridiculous, like giant Christmas ornaments hanging hundreds of feet in the air. You might think they're weather sensors. Maybe they're heavy weights designed to stop the cables from moving, but they're neither. They're actually giant warning signs in the sky. And they're there because a single invisible power line can become a deadly trap for a pilot. And the story behind why these strange-looking spheres exist is even more fascinating than you might expect. Welcome to Goodpup. Today we're answering one of the classic road trip mysteries. What are those giant, colorful balls on power lines actually for? To understand why these spheres are necessary, you have to see the world from a completely different perspective. Imagine you're not sitting inside a car. You're flying a helicopter, a crop-dusting plane, or a medical evacuation aircraft just a few hundred feet above the ground. From your car window, power lines seem obvious. They're dark, they're long, and they stretch across the landscape. But from the cockpit of a low-flying aircraft, everything changes. Those same cables can almost completely disappear. Against forests, mountains, rivers, or dark terrain, the thin gray wires can blend into the background. And when you're moving at high speed, a cable that is nearly invisible can become a deadly obstacle. For a pilot, hitting one can have catastrophic consequences. And that's exactly where these giant spheres come in. Officially known as aerial marker balls, their job is surprisingly simple: make power lines impossible to miss. They act like giant warning signs in the sky, telling pilots, there's a wire here. You'll usually find them in places where aircraft are likely to fly low, near airports, valleys, rivers, and major highway crossings. But that raises another question. Who came up with the idea of putting giant colored balls on power lines in the first place? The story goes back to a surprisingly specific moment in the early 1970s. Winthrop Rockefeller, who was governor of Arkansas at the time, was approaching an airport in an airplane. During the descent, he looked out of the window and suddenly noticed high-voltage power lines dangerously close to his aircraft. What made the situation terrifying was that the wires had been almost impossible to see from the air. That close call made one thing painfully clear. Something had to be done to make power lines more visible to pilots. Rockefeller reportedly instructed his director of aeronautics to find a solution. The problem eventually reached Jack Rudlick, who operated a fiberglass boat-building plant in Little Rock. Using lightweight and durable materials, Rudlick and his team developed a brightly colored sphere that could be attached securely to power lines without damaging them or slipping in strong winds. The idea was simple, but it solved a very serious problem, and the brightly colored marker ball quickly became a practical way to make dangerous power lines stand out against the sky. There's another surprising detail about these spheres that you probably never notice from the ground. They're enormous. From a car traveling underneath them, the balls might look roughly the size of a bowling ball. But that's just an optical illusion. Get close to one, and you'll realize just how massive they really are. Some aerial marker balls can be around 36 inches across, that's roughly 3 feet in diameter, and they can weigh around 17 pounds each. They're also painted in highly visible colors such as aviation orange, white, or yellow. The goal isn't to make them look attractive, it's to create as much contrast as possible against the sky and surrounding landscape. But installing these giant markers is arguably even more impressive than the markers themselves. Power lines often cross enormous rivers, rugged valleys, and difficult terrain. So workers can't simply walk up and attach them. In some situations, highly trained linemen install the markers while suspended from or working alongside hovering helicopters. Imagine hanging hundreds of feet above the ground next to a high-voltage power line while trying to secure a massive sphere in place. Suddenly, those strange orange balls don't seem so funny anymore. So the next time you're on a road trip and spot those giant orange or yellow spheres hanging across the power lines, you'll know exactly what you're looking at. They're not decorations, they're not weighing the cables down, and they're certainly not random. They're giant warning signs designed to keep aircraft and the people inside them safe. It's a remarkably simple solution to a problem most of us never even knew existed. And that's what makes ordinary things so fascinating. Because sometimes the strangest objects hiding in plain sight have the most important stories behind them. If you enjoyed this surprising piece of history, hit the like button, share this video with someone who loves discovering how everyday things work, and subscribe to Goodpup for more fascinating stories hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching.